बनाई, द वैंक्विश करके। उसके बाद अ, उसके बाद मैं इंडियन वाटर कलर सोसाइटी से जुड़ी और वहां मैंने वाटर कलर पेंटिंग्स की एग्जीबिशन की। ये कुछ मेरे वाटर कलर वर्क्स हैं। अ, मेरी स्लाइड प्रेजेंटेबल है ना?
यस।
ओके, थैंक यू। देन पोइट्री पे मेरी एग्जीबिशन आई। शब्द मेरे थे और रंग गुजरात के एक सीनियर आर्टिस्ट थे, उन्होंने उस पर करीब 22 पेंटिंग्स पोइट्री पे उन्होंने पेंटिंग बनाई थी। ये एग्जीबिशन भी काफी अहमदाबाद और दिल्ली, बॉम्बे, सब जगह ये एग्जीबिशन आई। तो इस तरह से मेरी क्रिएटिव जर्नी एक्चुअली फिर चलती रही। पेंटिंग्स, पोइट्री, ये मैं करती रही। अपने जो मेरा इंटरेस्ट था मैं उसमें लगी रही। ये प्रदीप चंद्रा की कॉफी टेबल बुक थी, उस पे मिस्टर आमिर खान पे एक पोइट्री थी, वो मैंने इसमें लिखी थी। तो ये करते करते फिर एक दिन जब मैं त्रिवेणी कला संगम गई थी पेंटिंग की कोई एग्जीबिशन देखने, तब वहां पे दिल्ली ब्लू पॉटरी ट्रस्ट की एक एग्जीबिशन लगी थी श्रीधरनी में। वहां मैंने फर्स्ट टाइम पॉटरी देखा कि मतलब ये भी कोई एक स्ट्रीम है जिसमें इतना सुंदर आर्टवर्क क्रिएट किया जा सकता है। तब मैंने सोचा कि मुझे मतलब एक इंटरेस्ट था कि नहीं, ये भी कुछ करना चाहिए इसमें। मैंने इसके बारे में पता किया और नोएडा में फिर मैंने इनकी वर्कशॉप ज्वाइन की। 1 वीक की वर्कशॉप थी। वो ज्वाइन करने के बाद मैंने फिर दिल्ली ब्लू पॉटरी ट्रस्ट, मीना वोरा मैम की वो वर्कशॉप थी, मैंने मीना वोरा मैम को ज्वाइन किया, वहाँ हैंड बिल्डिंग की कुछ क्लासेस की। उसके बाद दिल्ली ब्लू पॉटरी ट्रस्ट मैंने ज्वाइन किया। दिल्ली ब्लू पॉटरी दिल्ली ब्लू पॉटरी ट्रस्ट में राजेश सर और प्रीति मैम के अंडर मैंने 3 साल काम सीखा। ये मेरे कुछ अर्लियर वर्क हैं। तो वहां पे क्या था कि वहां पे हम थ्रोइंग और हैंड बिल्डिंग ये सब करते थे, और साथ में राजेश सर का ही के ही बनाए हुए ग्लेजेस हम अप्लाई करते थे। तब मुझे वहां पे रचना पराशर मैम का पता चला कि वो ग्लेज कोर्सेज करती हैं। तब मैंने उनकी 5 मंथ्स के ग्लेज कोर्स ज्वाइन किया। वहां पे ग्लेज कोर्स करने के बाद, लेकिन क्योंकि दिल्ली ब्लू में हमें अलाउ नहीं था कि हम अपने ग्लेज एक्सपेरिमेंट कर सकें, तो वो ग्लेज कोर्स एक्चुअली एक नोट्स में ही बंद होके रह गया। फिर उसके बाद वहां पे 3 साल काम करने के बाद वहां पे आईफेक्स की एक एग्जीबिशन आई जिसमें दिल्ली ब्लू पॉटरी के स्टूडेंट्स ने अपनी एग्जीबिशन लगाई थी। तो यहाँ पे मैंने आओ खेले खेला नाम से एक एग्जीबिशन की, जिसमें हमारे बचपन के जो खेल होते हैं उसके ऊपर मैंने 7 गेम्स की एक सीरीज बनाई थी। आओ खेले खेला, बचपन की यादों का देखो यहाँ लगा है मेला, आओ खेले खेला। तो इसमें मुझे सेकंड प्राइज मिला। तो इस तरह से धीरे 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 पॉटरी में मैं रमती चली गई और काम करती, जो जैसे आता गया उसी को मैं उसी हिसाब से काम करती चली गई। उसके बाद एमएसएमई ओखला ज्वाइन किया मैंने 6 मंथ्स का। वहां पे इसमें मोल्ड मेकिंग पर एक कोर्स था। तो वहां पे एक ना छोटी टेस्ट किल्न थी। वो किल्न मुझे मतलब लगा मुझे कि मुझे ग्लेज को रिसर्च करने में, को जानने में यहाँ मुझे ज्यादा हेल्प मिलेगी। फिर रचना पराशर मैम का जो क्लोज ग्लेज कोर्स किया था मैंने, वो मेरा वहां पे काम आया और मैंने उस स्किल को बहुत यूज किया। उसी दौरान मैंने एक उनकी जो बड़ी किल्न थी, इलेक्ट्रिक किल्न, वो पूरी फुल लोड मैंने चला दी और सारे ग्लेज मेरे, सारे पॉट्स मेरे खराब हो गए। तब मेरे दिमाग में स्ट्राइक किया कि नहीं, अगर आपको काम करना है तो आपके पास स्किल होना मस्ट है। और 2019 दिसंबर में मैंने इलेक्ट्रिक किल ली और तब मुझे एक क्रिएटिव फ्रीडम मिला और मैंने ग्लेस पे काम शुरू किया अपना। उसके बाद 2020 में कोविड आ गया और सब जगह लॉकडाउन लग गया। लेकिन क्योंकि मेरे पास स्किल थी और सारा सामान मेरे घर पे ही था, तो मैं उस लॉकडाउन को बहुत अच्छे से मैंने यूटिलाइज किया और मैंने वहाँ पे और उससे पहले दिसंबर में ही मैंने टेट सिकॉम सर की दिल्ली ब्लू में एक एग्जीबिशन देखी थी जो क्रिस्टलाइन ग्लेज पे थी। वो देखना मेरे लिए एक टर्निंग पॉइंट था और मुझे वो बहुत ही अच्छा लगा उनका ग्लेज। तब मैंने उस पे काफी रिसर्च किया और इंस्टाग्राम फेसबुक मैंने काफी आर्टिस्ट को पढ़ा देखा और मुझे लगा कि नहीं, मुझे इस लाइन में कुछ करना चाहिए। और तब मैंने होसे मरिस्कल की जो एक स्पेन के क्रिस्टलाइन आर्टिस्ट है उनकी ऑनलाइन वर्कशॉप कोविड के समय की थी। लेकिन अगेन उनका कोर्स इस पे डिपेंड था कि उनके ग्लेजेस थे रेडीमेड और उनके फायरिंग साइकिल थी, तो मुझे कुछ क्रिएटिव फ्रीडम नहीं लग रही थी। लेकिन मुझे लगा कि फिर ग्लेज ऐसे तो बनाना मुश्किल है कि आप कंटेम्प्रेरी मेथड्स पे काम कर रहे हो और आपको रेसिपीज मिल जा रही हैं और आप उनको देख रहे हो और काम कर रहे हो। तब मैंने फिर रिसर्च शुरू की और मुझे लगा कि नहीं, ग्लेज को अगर साइंटिफिक तरीके से किया जाए तो आप कुछ नया कर सकते हो। तब मैंने सिरामिक मटेरियल वर्कशॉप की ऑनलाइन कोर्स किया, वो भी 3 मंथ्स का था। और कोविड के समय मैंने वो कोर्स करना शुरू किया और तब मुझे समझ में आया कि ग्लेज एक्चुअली बनाने कैसे हैं। और मैंने उस पर फिर खूब रिसर्च शुरू कर दिया। अ, ये ये मेरे फर्स्ट क्रिस्टलाइन ग्लेज हैं जिस जो मुझे रेडीमेड रेसिपीज मिली थी और मैंने उसको फिर अप्लाई किया। लेकिन जब धीरे धीरे जब मैंने सिरामिक मटेरियल वर्कशॉप ज्वाइन किया तो उसके बाद मैंने रिसर्च अपनी शुरू की ग्लेज बनाने का साइंटिफिक तरीका क्या होता है। तो ये जो रेड ग्लेज है ये मैंने करीब करीब 100 टेस्ट किए होंगे इस पे, तब जाके ये ग्लेज निकला। और ये मैंने सिरेमिक मटेरियल के टाइम पे ही ये ग्लेज क्रिएट किया था। तो काफी टेस्ट किए। ये एक एकदम ग्लॉसी ग्लेज है, ग्लास। ये सारे फिर मैंने अपने खुद डेवलप किए सारे ग्लेजेस। ये कुछ ग्लेजेस हैं मेरे। ये मैंने ज्यादातर अपने जो शेप्स हैं वो बोल्स या प्लेटर्स रखे हैं, क्योंकि अगर क्रिस्टलाइन ग्लेज को आपको स्टडी करना है तो आपको फ्लैट, हॉरिजॉन्टल और वर्टिकल दोनों सरफेस आपको चाहिए होते हैं, तभी आपको पता चलता है कि ग्लेज क्रिस्टल्स कैसे बिहेव कर रहे हैं। तो कुछ क्रिस्टल्स होते हैं जो हॉरिजॉन्टल सरफेस पे, जैसे येलो वाला, पे ज्यादा अच्छे आते हैं। तो मैंने फिर ये भी सीखा कि हाँ, किन सरफेस पे आप अच्छा काम कर सकते हो। फिर ये एक है, काफी फेलियर्स भी हैं इसमें। काफी चीजें अच्छी बनती हैं और टूट जाती हैं। काफी वेस्टेज है क्रिस्टलाइन ग्लेज में, क्योंकि आपको कैचर्स और राइजर के साथ काम करना होता है और कई बार उनको निकालने के चक्कर में आपके पॉट पूरे टूट जाते हैं। कई बार केल में डॉन्टिंग हो जाती है। तो ये सारी चीजें एक्सपेरिमेंट किए हैं और आप सीखते हो इसमें। फिर ये तो थे जिंक सिलिकेट क्रिस्टल्स। फिर मैंने मैट क्रिस्टलाइन पे काम किया और मैंने टेट सिकॉम सर से फिर बात की और उनसे मैंने रेसिपी ली। फिर वो रेसिपी कैसे काम करेगी, उसमें कौन सा मटेरियल किस लिए दिया है, उस पे काम शुरू किया। और फिर मैंने अपना ये ग्लेज निकाला। ऑल्दो ये वाला ब्लू पॉट टूट गया है गिरने से, लेकिन ये 3 टाइम फायर्ड है और 3 टाइम इस पे ग्लेज एप्लीकेशन हुआ है। तो फिर ये भी एक्सपेरिमेंट करते करते पता चला कि कोई ग्लेज अगर फर्स्ट टाइम में नहीं आए तो आप उसको रीग्लेज करके डिफरेंट ग्लेजेस यूज करके आप इसको कैसे डेवलप कर सकते हो, तो कुछ नया निकल के आता है। तो ये तो थे कोन 10 के ग्लेजेस। फिर मैंने ये सोचा कि ये तो हाई टेम्परेचर ग्लेजेस हैं, तो आप और कितना डाउन जा सकते हो टेम्परेचर पे कि आपके क्रिस्टल्स बन जाएं। तब मैंने कोन 6 क्रिस्टलाइन ट्राई किया, इसके बारे में पढ़ा और मैंने फिर अपनी रेसिपीज क्रिएट की। और ये फिर रेड ग्लेज जो मैंने क्लास में किया था उसी का कोन 6 कन्वर्जन है। ये सारे कोन 6 के 1210, अभी मैं 1210 तक ही गई हूँ। अभी मुझे और भी नीचे जाना है कि और नीचे हम कितना क्रिस्टलाइन क्रिएट कर सकते हैं। कोन 6 में ही फिर ये टेराकोटा पे क्रिस्टलाइन कैसे यूज होगा। तो मैंने ये भी देखा कि कोई भी ग्लेज, अगर एक नॉर्मल हम ट्रांसपेरेंट ग्लेज लेते हैं और उसे टेराकोटा पे अप्लाई करते हैं तो वो एकदम डिफरेंट लुक देता है, क्योंकि अगेन क्ले का इंटरफेयर हमारी ग्लेज के साथ होता है और वो एकदम डिफरेंट लुक देता है। ये अगेन हाईकून 10 का ग्लेज है, टेराकोटा वाला। और फिर मैंने एवेंचुराइन पे काम किया। काफी ग्लिटरिंग है इस ग्लेज में। और क्योंकि एवेंचुराइन को आयरन से जोड़ते हैं तो काफी सारे मिसकंसेप्शंस होते हैं, जैसे कि क्रिस्टलाइन में आप क्ले नहीं यूज कर सकते, क्ले हिंडर्स क्रिस्टल्स। बट मैंने जब अपना एक्सपेरिमेंट किया तो मुझे लगा कि नहीं, क्ले ऐसा नहीं है कि क्ले हिंडर्स एक्सपेरिमेंट, क्योंकि ये जो रेड ग्लेज है ये टोटल क्ले बेस्ड ग्लेज है ये वाला। इसमें सिलिका नहीं है, डायरेक्ट सिलिका नहीं है। तो फिर एक्सपेरिमेंट करते करते पता चला कि नहीं, ये नहीं है। एक स्टल चार्ट के जरिए मैंने अपने ग्लेजेस बनाने शुरू किए कि केमिस्ट्री को हम कैसे यूज कर सकते हैं। जो ये स्टल चार्ट है वो हमें एक रोड मैप देता है कि आपको कहाँ जाना है, कैसे करना है। आप अपने ग्लेजेस को प्रिडिक्ट कर सकते हो पहले से कि आपका ग्लेज कैसे होने वाला है, मैट है, ग्लॉस है, कौन 10 है, कौन 6 है। सॉरी। फिर मैंने मैंगनीज क्रिस्टल्स पे काम करना शुरू किया। मैंगनीज में हम गोल्ड कैसे ला सकते हैं, गोल्ड क्रिस्टलाइन। एंड ये मेरे कुछ टेस्ट हैं। तो हर फायरिंग में मैं टेस्ट पीसेस लगाती हूँ और कुछ नया टेस्ट करने की कोशिश करती हूँ। ये मेरा ये कौन 6 का ग्लेज है, मैंगनीज क्रिस्टल। तो ये काफी ग्लिटर है, इसमें ग्लेज में क्रिस्टल्स के साथ ग्लिटरिंग है काफी सारी। मैंगनीज गोल्ड है। और ये फर्स्ट टाइम मेरा ये इतने बड़े क्रिस्टल्स आए इसमें। इसमें मोलिब्डेनम एंड बिस्मुथ है, साथ में कॉपर एंड कोबाल्ट है। अगेन मैंने वो रेड ग्लेज जो था वो निकल बेस्ड था, तो मैंने मुझे ये चाहिए कि मुझे गोल्ड ग्लेज, गोल्ड क्रिस्टल चाहिए, तो गोल्ड पे मैं काम करना शुरू किया। ऑल्दो अभी तक गोल्ड क्रिस्टल आए नहीं है। देन ये वेनेडियम पेंटॉक्साइड है इसमें। वेनेडियम को यूज करके आप कैसे क्रिस्टल्स बना सकते हो। ये अगेन मॉलिब्डेनम क्रिस्टल्स को मैंने यूज किया इसमें। और एक प्रोग्रेशन के साथ कैसे मॉलिब्डेनम के साथ आप क्रिस्टल्स क्रिएट कर सकते हो, और उसमें फिर बिस्मुथ में इरिसिडेंस इफेक्ट कैसे ला सकते हो। फिर इसके साथ अब क्योंकि क्रिस्टलाइन में वेस्टेज काफी है तो मुझे लगा कि नॉन रनी क्रिस्टलाइन बनाने चाहिए, और मैंने अ, अब नॉन रनी क्रिस्टलाइन पे भी एक्सपेरिमेंट शुरू किया है। तो ये कुछ नॉन रनी क्रिस्टलाइन है। तो इसमें भी काफी एक्सपेरिमेंट है, एप्लीकेशन है, रेसिपीज है, कैसे आपको अप्लाई करना है। देन ये कुछ मैट क्रिस्टल है जो कोन 6 के हैं, और इसमें काफी ग्लिटरिंग है। तो ये चीज समझ में आने लगी कि नहीं, ग्लिटर्स या एवेंचुराइन खाली आयरन बेस्ड ही नहीं होते। अगर आप कॉपर और कोबाल्ट भी यूज कर रहे हो तो आपको ग्लिटर आ रहे हैं, तो फिर वो क्यों आ रहे हैं। तो एक्चुअली जब हम साइंस को आर्ट के साथ जोड़ते हैं तो मुझे ऐसा फील हुआ कि नहीं, क्यों, किस लिए, कैसे आप कौन सा मटेरियल आप यूज कर रहे हो, और कैसे आप अपने ग्लेजेस को एक अलग लेवल पे ला सकते हो, तो ये आपको केमिस्ट्री के थ्रू समझ में आता है। ऑल्दो मुझे कोई भी बैकग्राउंड केमिस्ट्री का नहीं है, लेकिन मैं धीरे धीरे अब सीख रही हूँ कि कैसे मैं इसको यूज करके अपना अच्छा काम कर सकूं। तो यही मेरी अभी जर्नी है, और मुझे लगता है कि मैं ग्लेज डेवलपमेंट में ही ज्यादा जाना चाहूंगी। तो शुरू से काम करते करते अब मुझे अपना पाथ एक डिफाइन हो गया है, और अ, मुझे लगता है, मुझे समझ में आने लगा है मुझे क्या करना है आगे चलते। थैंक यू।
वंडरफुल, बहुत 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 बढ़िया। थैंक यू रेन्यू फॉर शेयरिंग योर
थैंक
जर्नी।
यू।
बहुत बढ़िया। Anybody has any question? We have few minutes. You can ask Renu any questions. If not, then we will move to the second presenter, and we can take the questions later, lastly, when everybody is finished. Kshitija, is that all right?
Yeah, we can go ahead.
Okay, then Saraswati is our next presenter, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
you can introduce her, please.
yeah. Um, yeah, hi. So Saraswati, born in 1973 in Ukraine, part of USSR. And since 2004, she's been living in Orville, south of India. Coming from an artistic family, doesn't have any formal education, worked as TV journalist for 7 years. She's been an ICAF member for a year now. So over to you, Saraswati.
Yes, just a little correction. I do have formal education. I don't have art education.
Okay, sorry, I did wrong pause.
Uh, uh, Good evening. I suspect I know most of the people here, or maybe not, maybe just a good part. I will be brief. I have just a collection of pictures which shows a bit of my path from very beginning. And the first picture, do you see it?
Yes, yes.
It's me and my mother. We are working on one of my projects, and I want to mention my mom as my first teacher because she discovered clay when she was about 40 and I was 12, and we started together, but she guided me. So next. Оп, как же этим руководить? Sorry, I am stuck a little bit. Misha, how to move with this? Oh, yes, thanks. So this is my mom and her creation, just briefly. For the last 10 plus years, she is with underglaze painting on porcelain. This is again her. And she also lives in Oroville. So even my move to India started following her, basically. This is how my initial ceramic pieces looked. With this style, I came out maybe in school years, and I was very well supported by my family. They really sort of breathed in and out art, and so any piece I will do, they will really praise me, and that was the best warm water for me to be. So initially I was very much in detail. I was always firing electric, and as most of Russian artists do, but we were lucky even at that time to buy any commercial glazes we wanted, because the stream of glazes was developed in Russia since we had first porcelain factories in 19th century. So these pictures are not large. They were all fitting within maybe 15 by 15 centimeters frame. Am I slow or fast?
No, the pace is all good.
Fine. You're
Continue.
just fine. Don't worry.
So when I came to India, I restarted my ceramic work with the same style until one day Adil writer gave me a couple of good advices, and he also told me, why don't you make the same but 10 times bigger? And with this blessing, like, I started thinking, but I didn't have time to practice because I was leaving for my first ceramic art camp symposium at Baikal Lake, and I decided to try straight there. So Adil is to mention that he is amongst, I mean, I had very few gurus, but I'm very thankful for all his advices. He is a good person for that. You always can ask him any advice. He will give it like while running, but it will be very valuable. So, and that's what I came up with straight away, trying to make it bigger. It lost a lot of details though. Here. And then I had one after another 2 solo shows, one in Oroville and one in Goa. It was a very interesting time for me because I had a very young child at that time, 2 years old, and tried to combine it all. This is the series that is called To Go By, and it's a playful transport. It was first made for that. This is very related to my very own old stream, but little bigger. Some wall plates that I was also making at that time. Vessels, rare with me, but happens. So this was all about around 2017. This piece was done in Belarus. I went to Belarus, for another ceramic symposium. It was challenging because we were firing in a very strange wood kilns, but I liked that time and that result. This is how it looks when my daughter photographs me in the workshop. This is my kiln. Now it's much older, but this is how it looked when it was first built, and it was made of designed and made fully by my husband. This is how we used it at that time. Especially in monsoon, it served us as a clothes dryer. This is the usual condition of my table. I'm not proud of it, but this happens. And this is how my workplace looks all over. Here we start another chapter. In 2017, I came to know closer Indrani Singh Kasim, and at the same time she started building her Anagama kiln in Digama. And so happened that I was at the right time at the right place. So I came to ask her whether I can participate in the collective firing or in a wood firing she ever initiates with my small pieces, and she told me it's okay. But by the end of the same season, she started building her own kiln. So I was lucky to participate in nearly all the firings of Indigama, except for 2 times out of 20 that I was out of station. So Indrani is still hopeful to give all her knowledge. Guys, somebody has to switch off the mic. Okay. And after some time, the firings became collective, and Indrani started inviting people. And here you see the international team of Rekha and 2 Russian artists from Russia. Since then, it was our first experience with the Russian-Ukrainian team, but since then we had already 4 firings, and the last one got completed in March. On 7th March, we had an exhibition of the 4th Russian-Indian firing. So this experience definitely opened a new door for me, and it's still, I mean, it's supposed to be that it will be always a magic for me how it happens, and I'm trying to dive into it without expectations, and to give away the piece completely to the god or goddess of fire. And every time, even without, I mean, it's overwhelming. It's too much. This is at the exhibition spot. Then when I'm just with myself in my own space, I work with porcelain, and I'm very thankful to Delhi Blue for supplying us this material. I think, yeah, this was a moment of a national porcelain show, and it was a piece that was purchased by Dr. Kuba, my one of the achievements. And later, the first Triennale happened, and this is how I supposedly making the pieces for the first Indian Triennale. And this is the half of the pieces. And I think at that moment, the look of my pieces and the sense of what I want to tell through them mostly crystallized. I believe that every structure has human sides, and it's collected some experiences. It has cracks, beauties, and it's like a human being who lived some time and knows something about life. And also, as every human, it's very fragile and needs to be taken with care and needs to be looked into every and each corner for details and needs to be loved. This is the moment of fixing the piece at the Triennale, one supposed to be hanging, and it was called Anti-Gravity. This shows that I didn't really spend much time fixing placing the pieces. And this is the final look. Some more works from the last 5 years. If you see the wood fired, they're most probably fired in Digama. If they're white, it's my homemade electric fired porcelain. This work was selected for one Italian competition, Ceramic in Love, and broke on the way back because they didn't pack properly. Again, some wall pieces. This was a part of the show in Gallery Art and Soul of the Walls. New chapter to start. This is our another activity. Some 15 years back, we initiated a studio where we teach Oroville children, and Anna, my mother, is working with Oroville adults after work in the evening, and it's called White Peacock. We started initially in an old abandoned building, but slowly we fundraised and built a new house for it. Mostly the classes are outdoors because the weather permits. We have workshops and regular classes for Orovillians. and it's a good place to be. We have once a year open house that collects a lot of people, and we make a lot of pancakes. And as you see with the elder girls, we are trying a lot of things. Here, teenagers are fixing a mural on the wall. This mural now is at our compound. Some works of the children of different times. Oh, this is my daughter Masha modeling ceramic jewelry, and it's probably time to say that mostly for as production for bread and butter, we are making jewelry. Oops. So yes, this is a bit of private life. It was a moment when Masha was 16 and Misha, the younger child, was very little, and I just keep this photo here and then. So it's only few pictures left, a bit of ceramic jewelry as a dessert. I think that's it.
Thank you, Saraswati. It was lovely. Any questions to Saraswati, guys? Or should we take it after Tinni's presentation? Okay.
Okay, questions at the last then.
Okay. Tinni, it's yours. And Kshitija, please introduce her. We welcome you. Thank you, Saraswati. Again.
So Tinni is a resident of Noida, whose journey from fashion and textile to pottery reflects her enduring passion for creativity. Specializing in both functional wear and miniature, she has undertaken multiple apprenticeships and residencies in England, enriching her craft through diverse experience. For over a decade, she has dedicated herself to education, teaching ceramics, art, and design, and currently serves as an educator at an IB school. So, Tinni?
Hi.
Yeah.
Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, just a moment. I was trying if I can go to the presentation mode. Is it on the presentation mode?
No,
Now it is, yeah?
now it is.
Good evening. Thank you, ICAF, for this opportunity to share our journey with everyone else. And so I'll begin from here. So this is a little introduction. A lot of it already has been spoken. So yes, my journey started in the field of textiles and fashion. And from there, I went around to study different types of Indian crafts. And along with that I was doing from South Delhi Polytechnic. Along with that, I came across a pottery course at Delhi Blue Pottery Trust. And I started there in 2007. But then had to leave it for some reason. And later I joined Rachna Parasharji in 2010. And since then, ma'am has been a mentor and a guru. So post that, I went to England and I did a year-long apprenticeship. And since then, there has been a little bonding with that country because somehow I've managed to keep going back there and meet different potters and work with different potters, which I would like to share in the upcoming slides. So, yeah. So this is my journey, which started at the Leech, and it was so sometimes people have asked me that it was like a dream, must have been like a dream come true for you. But to be honest, it was not even a dream. it somehow just happened, and I applied and it worked out. So it was literally just, I would say, luck. Lady luck was literally there, up there somewhere. So this is how it all started. And being an apprentice there, it's a production studio, so there are a lot of numbers to play with. And if you look into this, the first picture, I don't know if you can see my mouse if I move it around. Is it visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so this picture is where you start with. So all you're doing is just waxing pots and doing all the chores in the studio. And the lucky part I was that after the first 3 weeks that I was there, I came to know that Warren McKenzie would be visiting, and he'll be a resident potter for 2 weeks. And because I was the youngest in terms of experience, I was the one who was supposed to be his apprentice and support him in whichever way. And Warren was 89 at that time. So it was really nice to see how he was working and how he had his old school way of doing everything. And so that was another thing. Along with that, at that point of time, Leech Pottery was doing soda firing, and this one of the pictures is of soda firing, and that's where my love for soda firing started, which I've still not been able to culminate, but maybe in future. The picture on the rightmost is my first production, which I was supposed to do after being there for, I think, after two months of being there. And those were just making small egg cups. And I made almost, I think, in 2 months span, I made almost 1,000 egg cups along with other pots, other work in the studio, and broke almost 800 of those because only 200 got selected. So it was that hardcore, but it was fun. So this is another project that Leech Pottery had. They had a tie-up with a company called Sea Salt, and they were supposed to make pottery for them. And then the Sea Salt had an idea that they wanted to do these floor tiles, which were like 2-inch by 2-inch tiles. And they wanted handmade tiles, few glazed and few with decoration on it. By few, I mean almost 2,000 or 2,500 tiles, something like that. So out of which almost 1,000 tiles had to be hand painted. We had a visiting potter that time from Scotland who was just spending 2 months at the Leech Pottery. So these were with her suggestions because she was very good with decoration and painting. So got to learn a lot because we had to cut and make each tile by hand and then decorate it and biscuit, then glaze it. And this is in the Sea Salt store in Bath. And later on, they converted these into even one of their garment prints. So the image on the top left is of the garments they started making with the prints of these hand-painted tiles. So luckily, just before going to England for the apprenticeship, I did a Raku and Ubara workshop with Rekha in her studio, Rekha Bajpayee. And it was an amazing experience because I had never done Raku before that. And when I went there, I was also supposed to be a part of the education sector because I had taught before as well. I had taught in fashion school, and I taught ceramics to children in an NGO. So taking from that, they wanted me to be a part of the education sector and education section, sorry. And there they used to have these groups of students from England, students from Japan, and we used to do a lot of Raku with them. And then I developed a collection of these shells over there, inspired from the seascape that was around St. Ives. So this was a part of my work that I made there and later was left for selling. Miniatures has been something that has always caught my eye since the first day I saw pottery, which is the terracotta pots that we see on the road. And so Diwali used to be the best time because you could buy all those pots and decorate it and put it around the rangoli. So it had always fascinated me. And when I did my beginner's course at Delhi Blue Pottery, Preeti ji used to be there. And Preeti ma'am used to make these literally tiny miniatures. I still have 2 of those, which she just gifted it to me. And I always wondered how she managed those. And then when I started learning from Rachna ma'am, then I saw these hordes of miniatures, which she does, and they are just exquisite. So I think my love of miniatures just kept getting good influences as well. So when once at the Leach Pottery, there was a huge production time and they had shortage of clay. And then I was making my own work. So they said if you could use less clay for a certain time because some huge order was there. So all other works had to be stopped. So I just, in the evening to pass some time, I started making miniatures, and it just, it was something that everyone loved and adored. So when I came back, I left because I had to do one firing of my own work, which is here. And then I made almost 400 miniatures, which had, and the whole concept behind it was that I wanted to do tableware because I'd practiced that so much being at Leach. And that in a miniature form. So I did everything from little handies to casseroles to teapots to jugs and to, of course, little bud vases. So that relation stayed, because of which I left my pots, miniatures there, which they sold for me over the years. Because of the connection with the Leach Pottery, I met a lot of artists there, a lot of ceramic artists, from Mike Dodd to John Leach, of course. Then I met Phil Rogers, then Yo Tanimoto from Japan, a lot of them. And it was just amazing meeting these people. And we had demonstrations from them. There was even Joe Finch. So it just felt the right place to, work. And when I came back from Leach, I got the opportunity to start working in a school. So then with a good funding coming in and getting summer holidays and winter breaks, I decided to keep this relation on. And I wrote to different potters and different people, and luckily got the opportunity to work with Mike. Mike, I had met when I was at Leach, and I loved the way he would throw, and I loved the simplicity in his work. So when I went back once and met him and told him I would love to come and work for him, he was quite welcoming about it. And since then, Mike has become a mentor to me. This was, I think, back in 2017 when I went and was there for a month. I went thinking I'll be an apprentice and I'll get to do all the chores in the studio, but he took me as a student, and he was very kind to share everything. He also made me meet Richard Batterum, who we lost 2 years ago, but amazing potter. And this is another add-on to what I did with Mike, because I had a specific tool which I got, which I used to work with when I was at Leach Pottery. It was someone else's, and that lady was kind enough to give it to me. And it was cracking because of, I think, I left it in water or something. And I asked Mike from where I could purchase that. And he said, you don't need to, you can just make it. And this wood that you see here, I can't find the cursor. Yeah, this wood that you see here, Mike's father was a woodworker in his free time. And so it was his collection of little chunks of wood, which was of apple and walnut. And Mike taught me how to use all these tools and make my own tools. So here is what I make. And I still use these ribs for my miniatures and for the regular size pots. And this was, so I met John when I was at Leach Pottery, and John and Minnie, Mansimranji, they know each other and they have huge respect for one another. So Minnie wanted me to give regards to John and go meet him, but that never worked out while I was there for the year. The time after that I went, when I was with Mike and I went to meet John again, I couldn't. And I had always loved their pots, the Machalni pots. They are like just exquisite with their shapes, and it's all, sturdy, hard pots to use in the kitchen. So beautiful pieces. But when I went again, John wasn't well, so I couldn't meet him. So this was literally in my third visit that I finally got to meet him and sit down and have a long chat about pots and everything. Sadly, we have lost him as well and during COVID. So as I said, that my tie-up somehow with England has carried on. So this was from internship to apprenticeship. Finally, I reached the stage of doing certain residencies. So this was last year in June again, that I was there at Winchcombe, and I worked with them, did all their work. They also do soda firing and wood firing. So I was quite glad to get the chance to do both during the 1 month span, and also throw their pots. So understand a lot of making techniques of tableware. And alongside in my free time, I again made miniatures, and I used their style of slip work and glazing for my own work. And they were very kind to offer to put it in their gallery on sale. So that's the collection there. Along with that, I did a residency at Andretta Pottery. This was sometime in 2019. I spent a month there, and same here, I made my own miniatures, and I was in love with the way Milabji does his slip trailing. So I wanted to learn that. So I tried the slip trailing on my miniatures made there with their clay and their glazes. And this collection was later sent to the Leech Pottery. Sorry, just a second. Yeah. And alongside making my own work, I was just helping around in the studio, whatever I could do. And the terracotta museum, if you've been to Andretta Pottery, they have a terracotta museum, which Minnie and Mary over the years have collected a lot of pots and decorated it with a huge collection of Indian as well as international terracotta pots. So that was being redone. And they were still working around it. I think it's about to be open again with a lot of renovation. So there were a few pots which needed some work on, some restoration because they were cracked or broken, and restoration being something I really enjoy doing. So I tried my best to work on it. So yeah, so on the right, the images you see is of that time. Yeah. Okay, so kiln building and another add-on which was from my time at Leech that Joe Finch visited. But before that, the Leech team, when Warren Mackenzie was coming, the picture on the left bottom, when Warren Mackenzie came, they needed to test his glazes because Leech was going through a transition time. So from the soda firing, they were going back to making the standard way, which with reduction glazes, how Bernard used to follow. So at that point of time, they wanted Warren to come there, do the residency, and bring those glazes and all that knowledge back with him. So they could go back to the traditional old style. And to check those, they decided to build this kiln, the one at the bottom left. So it was a test kiln, and I was amazed because to me, kiln felt like a complete rocket science. So when I was there, I realized that it's not if you technically understand it. And they just ordered things, though of course there is standardization, but they just ordered things and they made a sketch and they designed it and then they built it and they did the test firing and then they dismantled it. So it was like done, like 2 days, everything was done. So that was amazing. And then later, Joe Finch came there to build their new gas kiln. And again, being one of the most inexperienced in kiln building, the Leech team was kind enough to make me his assistant. So I assisted, and along with it he was building the kiln, and they also had a workshop for there. So the people who were there to learn kiln building, I assisted everyone, and I was also a part of that team. So got to learn a lot from that yes, it's not rocket science. If you understand it, you can manage it somehow, just that you should get the right material. And the picture in the center here, so after we were done building the kiln, they had a lot of material left. So Joe decided that he would build a pizza kiln, like a pizza oven. So we had a wood-fired pizza oven as well. So, and in the right is the picture of the first firing, which came out just beautiful. Okay. So when I came back, and during all my experiences of going and coming back and this and that, I would always take my basket of raw pots and take it for firing, either to Sanskriti, which from Noida to Sanskriti used to be a drive, and the car was full of raw pots or greenware. And once I decided that Pathways, the school where I'm working, I would use their kiln because we only fire terracotta there. But I would use their kiln and just fire my pots for high firing. And this is the result that I got after the firing ended. So all the bottom shelf and even one of the top shelves broke. the shelf cracked, the props bursted. And when I opened the kiln, luckily it was winter time, so I was in boots, but one of the big teapots just fell on my foot. And so the best thing was to click a picture because I didn't know what to do. So, but the interesting bit is that this was the first firing where the pots came out, and I was happy with it because for a long time I was struggling with the glazes I wanted, with the shapes I wanted in my studio. So the pots came out nice, even if it was shattered and broken and slightly high fired. But after this experience, I told myself that no, I'm not going to fire my pots anymore. I will not carry it anywhere. It has to be in my studio, and it has to be in a gas kiln, and it has to be built by me. So just being a bit of a rebel there. So finally, I decided that yes, I would do it. I started reading about it. A lot of people helped me. Of course, Rachna ma'am helped me a lot. She also helped me to figure out that why I'm doing it. So that question got answered. And later on, Sandeep ji helped a lot. Anirudh helped a lot. Arun helped a lot from Sanskriti. So it was so many people just guiding me through that it became an easy journey, not a very small journey. It extended for a while to get the right material, right sources. But finally it did happen, and the picture in the center is the result of my first firing in the kiln, and everything came out perfect. And my father was a very big help because he was like, fine, if you want to do something, let's just do it right. So he was always there with every inch of support I needed. So this is another aspect of my travels and meeting people, that a lot of online talks were happening in the field of education for our school, everything during the COVID time. So it gave me an idea to do a little, and usually we have so much happening from Delhi Blue side. The Potter's Market, few exhibitions and that workshops, that year, nothing was about to happen. And I remember speaking to Anuradha ji, and she said that till the time COVID is not off, we can't manage anything. And she said, we can't do anything online. It's not it doesn't work for us. So keeping that in mind, this talk was done in partnership with them. And it was a paid talk series, and whatever funds were collected was given to Delhi Blue. And they were kind enough to send Gurcharanji's book to each of the participating members. So we had, and I was just a coordinator in between all this. It was magical to see how the Indian potters and the international potters came together and had lovely discussions. A good way, I think, to learn for everyone. Sorry, this is not, okay, yeah. So next is my work. So my work entails of tableware. Oops. Yeah, my work entails of tableware because of all my training in that. So a good forms, chunky shapes and all. So this is what it is. I work with a very limited palette. I increase my glaze palettes always over a period of time. And as Renu ji was talking about, in I think coming from Rachna ma'am, that none of my kiln goes without new textiles or the same glazes tested with something else on it. So it's always full of different glaze tests and all, but my work personally have very limited palette of glazes that I use. So this was another interesting experience. This was last year. Saraswati would remember this was in the Indigama. And me and Rachna ma'am and few other potters, including Saraswati, we all were there for the Indigama. And this was, I think, it was a good way to free myself from from working in production. Because of my training, I have been doing production. I always sit down knowing that I have numbers in mind. Only after I have made sure that I know exactly what shape I have to make, then I work with numbers. So this was very free. I enjoyed the fact that I didn't have to make the same shape in numbers, and I could make whatever I want. I could decorate with whatever I want. And I haven't had a chance after that, but I want to explore this aspect more and maybe go back again to Pondi, Auroville for another Anagama. Miniatures being one of my loves still now, and I still love doing it. I did a set of miniatures even in the Anagama firing, and I've started developing this new style of work. I always do my experiments on miniatures if I want to try something new. And then from there, then I move to making it on bigger pots. So this work, I don't know if I have, yeah. So this work is what has come here as well. So I tried it on miniatures and I liked it. And I think it has a very oriental touch to it. So it's good to go for these kind of shapes where, you know, it's more for oriental or Asian food. So yeah, this is another aspect of my life. Other than being just a potter and working in a studio, education has something been always gone in parallel to being a potter. I started teaching in a fashion school. Then from there, I started teaching ceramics in an NGO. And then when I came back from Leach, I think after a couple of months, I somehow this fell in my lap that the teacher there was leaving and they were looking for a substitute. Sorry, not a substitute, but a new person. So I joined, this is Pathways. I joined Pathways back in 2015. And I thought I'll just be a ceramic teacher there, but it's not like that at an IB school. You have to do multiple things. So from ceramic, I started teaching art. Luckily, I had a bit of background, a bit of design and textile. And now I'm also in the design department. So I'll be working with wood and other material too. So that's another new thing, new challenge. Yeah, so this is just a bit of display of students' work because of being a potter who also puts up exhibitions and displays and everything. So we always do that even at school. We have exhibitions of students' work, plus we have been doing students' work for sale, which goes to charity. So here on top is one setup of planters, which was done, one set of planters, which was done for SPCA, which works for animal funding. And students do a lot of these projects and they also make a lot of things that they can sell. So it's always nice to see what they are planning and then assist them in that and get funds. So this is in continuation with education. So this is, I used to take classes in from my own studio, but it doesn't work now. Otherwise, I don't get time for myself. But because I still like teaching ceramics and hard good ceramics, so at times I do workshop. And here is a picture of when I was teaching kids, even at the Leach Pottery, so different, the education sector, section that I was talking about. And this is something new that just started this year. So this is in collaboration with a studio called Cold Mountain Studio, which is in Dharamshala, that we decided to run some glaze courses there. And this is the course is specific for cone 10 glazes in a gas kilns oxidation and reduction. And it was really amazing because the first one that happened in January culminated with a small wow, like a mini exhibit, I could call it, where students displayed all the glazes they made. It was an 8-day course, and we ended up making almost 120 something glazes. And so Minnie and Mary visited with few more other potters to culminate the show. And this was the second one that we just had in March. So March was also very interesting to culminate the course in March. We had a pit firing, which the studio and we decided to do for ourselves, that the students could also learn a bit about it. So this is a new add-on, and I think anyone who knows glaze and glaze courses in India knows that if you've been taught by Rachna ma'am, then of course your training is absolutely different. So I'll be always thankful to her because she has been a very integral part of my learning and my journey. So of course, the glaze part also comes from there. And I hope I'm doing it right. Just the last slide. This is a bit of my participation. So because I'm in a way a full-time educator, so I don't often do a lot of work in my studio, and when I do, as I said, it's mostly production. But so I still try and participate in few exhibitions. Usually they are markets, Delhi Potters Market. Then last year I also went for the Bombay Potters Market. Other than that, somehow it was again a miniature clubbed work. I don't have a picture of that right now, but something I did, which I had exhibited in IFAX. And this was either 2012 or 2013, where I received the third prize. And it was quite amazing. Here is an exhibition display at the Leech Pottery. This was in 2018, which was called 10 Years On. All the apprentices who had worked there, all the potters who had worked there, it was a group show by everyone. And I had displayed my miniatures. If you see the bottom picture here where my cursor is, so my theme for the exhibition was to utilize their shapes and their entire range of tableware. And I made that in 1/12 of the actual size, which is the actual miniature form. So even the egg cups that I showed you in the first picture, which was the first thing I made, and it was almost, as far as I remember, I think 2 inches in height. And I made those also in a miniature form. So I made 2 sets of these, their current tableware in a miniature form. And here is one of the recent work. This is not something that I like, not something that I often do, but I like it when I do it with students in school, because they love to color, and we do a lot of sgraffito with children. So it was something even I've been wanting to just go and have fun. So I did that for the ceramic trinale work, that collaborative work of Totem that many of us participated in. So, and that's me. Thank you.
My God, Tinni, what a fabulous journey. What a fantastic work, full journey. You've been a student, apprentice, learner, teacher, giver, full life. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Fantastic. Any questions? Thank you, guys. Thank you, Renu. Thank you, Saraswati. Thank you, Tinni, for sharing your fabulous journey with ICAF members. Anybody has any questions, please ask them now.
Yeah, I have, Tinni, for you.
Oh, okay. I have one for Saraswati.
Okay, first is what happened in your kiln? Why did it, why was that?
It wasn't mine. It was the
At
kiln
the
that
school.
I was, at the school. And firstly, I think it was never fired to that temperature. I have restudied it, and in my head was one thing that I placed the prop also slightly wrong. But that if that was the case and the whole thing fell because of that, then the top props at the back should have not bursted. But there were few props at the back that bursted, and literally it was like that, like one prop into a Y crack kind of a thing. So maybe it was just some prop that was not meant to go up to that temperature. So yeah, that's my understanding of it. Yeah.
And the second question,
Mm.
how do you manage, you being an educator, which is quite, being with children takes away a lot of energy. So how do you manage being an educator and still work? Do you feel giving justice, or do you at times really feel that, I want to be a full-time artist? Or how did you come to this decision of, the peace that you are at right now?
So a lot of times you're not peaceful. And I mean, there are times when you always have this feeling that you should be one thing and you should just let go of another thing. But when I'm there and when I'm with the children, it's just a different atmosphere. Like I was just talking about the work I did for the Trinale. It's something that I've been doing with them, and I see the joy they have in just coloring, and that feeling of not caring about it. This goes with that. Are the colors complementary? Are the colors? They don't think, they just go with the flow. So when you see that kind of freedom, it really helps. And it's just fun working with children. And there are days when they are badly scolded. It never happens that they are like, oh, we had the best time and everyone is going. So you have those days. But you know, those slightest of good morning, miss, and a little hug, and miss, we have not had a class 2 weeks, we've missed you. So those things just gives a lot back. And then there are those 2 or 3 days that I get in my studio, which is just perfect because it's quiet. So that's the reason I stopped taking classes, because I needed that time and I enjoy that piece. And I've had this chat with Rachna ma'am as well, that maybe I enjoy that piece right now because, you know, because I have enough noise in the other parts of my week. So somehow body and mind creates that its own balance.
And I'm sure everyone must be having this question. How does one apply for such lovely places for apprenticeship?
It's funny that you're asking me this today because so I'm also working on my own website with a friend helping me. And for that, I've been just going through all old pictures and everything. And you won't believe it what I came across. So I always knew that I contacted Leech Pottery on through Facebook. But I thought it was a private message and all. It was actually a message that I sent directly in the group, which I came across right now. And just an open message asking that, okay, this is my scenario. I can't pay this much. I can do this. I cannot do that. If you have space, please let me know. And long back, there was an ad of Tata Sky. This might sound funny, but it's true. That it said that, I don't remember the exact tagline, but it said, just ask, you know, something like, Pucho, ya to na hoga, ya haan hoga, that kind of a thing. So that was my literal motto when I contacted Leech Pottery, and rest of the doors opened from there. So it has to be like that. It is always a 50-50 chance. And the time I wrote to Leech Pottery, I was literally telling myself that, yeah, ye tujhe jawab denge. You know, why will they answer you? You are nowhere, you are nothing. And I had no experience, anything. And I wrote to them and 2 more potters whose work I liked on Facebook. None of them responded. They did. So you just have to ask. I think that's the only way. If you have a portfolio, have a resume, things are much easier now. We have everything on Instagram. You just have to send a link. But yeah, just ask.
Answer single star.
Sorry.
Yeah, anyone has more questions? Or Tinni, you can continue with yours.
No, sorry. I just one small question I wanted to ask Saraswati. How do you pack your things? Because you said when they sent back your work, it was broken. And they're so delicate. So how do you manage to pack your
Those particular things were very strong. They were like round and from wood firing. But not all the organizations know how to pack or have enough materials. Seems like they really did a bad job. But I'm packing with maybe 85% success. Sometimes pieces break. But now maybe I have a ratio of 90% success because I'm growing year by year. I think first, then I have enough different materials handy, and I start picking from most fragile things, trying to reinforce, support them from right inside of the structure maybe. And then I actually need to think 100 times differently. And the best packing is when it's packed in the box and then another box. Then it's perfect.
Okay.
And something in between, definitely. Like Deborah Smith taught everybody to make rolls of straw and paper. That's newspaper. And having no place to store straw, I just pack smashed newspaper into a roll of paper, and that serves me. It's even reusable.
Okay.
Like you mostly send air with little bit of ceramics in the center.
Okay. Thank you.
I need some 140 seconds or 1 minute to thank everybody for listening and thank the organization for giving us opportunity to look at my, in this case, pictures and maybe to analyze, to reflect, and it's a good experience.
Oh, it was pleasure seeing all your work.
Thank you.
I want to speak to Saraswati. I feel that from your pictures, it seems you're a born artist. The first pictures you've shown us, they're so talented. They don't look like they were done when you were so new to it. And has your journey really been like that?
I don't know. When I was a child, I was even more confident. I felt very sure that I know a lot of things. Now, seeing back, I definitely see a lot of supportive adults who made me feel that, and they even organized the first solo show when I was 19 or something like that, and I probably was the only one who really took it seriously. I don't know. It was a very good atmosphere of that time. Definitely, practice makes you better.
Definitely, but your initial work also looks beautiful. Really.
Thank you.
Fabulous.
It's not
Fabulous.
my first works. It's my first works
Yeah.
photographed in India. So I already
Right.
came with some experience, but I just don't have any archive of what we were doing initially.
Right.
And thank
Well,
you so
just
much for your high marks.
gorgeous work. And I have one question for Renu.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, Renu. That was a lovely journey you shared with us. What I want to
Thank you.
ask is, I have not really done much of crystalline firing. So I would like to ask you that are crystalline glazes toxic or are they food safe?
तो मैम ये बहुत लोगों की एक मिसकंसेप्शन है कि क्रिस्टलाइन ग्लेजेस जो हैं वो फूड सेफ नहीं होते, पर एक्चुअली कुछ जो मटेरियल हम यूज करते हैं, ऑक्साइड्स हैं, जैसे कॉपर है, कोबाल्ट है, अगर वो हम इतने लो परसेंटेज पे यूज
Quantity.
करते हैं कि वो, हाँ, क्वांटिटी इतनी कम रहती है कि वो जब हम स्टूडियो में यूज कर रहे हैं एज ए पाउडर, तो वो हमारे लिए सेफ नहीं है, हमारे स्किन के लिए, हमारी हेल्थ के लिए हो सकता है। लेकिन इतना हाई टेम्परेचर और पे उसको हम जब यूज कर रहे हैं तो वो फिर फूड सेफ्टी का उसमें इशू नहीं रहता है।
Correct.
हाँ, और
और
डिपेंड ये भी करता है कि आप जो ग्लेज बना रहे हो वो उसमें जो हम 0.3 to 0.7 मोल परसेंटेज कहते हैं, ग्लेज का एक स्टैंडर्ड होता है। अगर उस स्टैंडर्ड में आपका ग्लेज फॉल कर रहा है तो फिर आपके ग्लेजेस फूड सेफ हैं, वो लीच नहीं करेंगे। लेकिन स्टिल कुछ क्रिस्टलाइन ग्लेजेस होते हैं जो कई बार उनको आप यूज करोगे तो उसको जब आप टेस्ट करोगे, चाहे वो लेमन टेस्ट हो या फिर और भी कोई हम एसिड्स वगैरह में डालते हैं, तो वो उसमें से ऑक्साइड्स वो लीच कर जाते हैं। तो दैट इज पार्ट, अगर आप लो परसेंटेज में आयरन है विदाउट एनी ऑक्साइड्स आप यूज कर रहे हो तो वो फूड सेफ है।
अच्छा, एक और सवाल था कि
Yes,
आपको शुरू में कितना सक्सेस मिला, कितनी चीजें खराब होती थी शुरू
सक्सेस
में?
रेट शुरू में भी
क्योंकि
और अब भी
बहुत
मैम सक्सेस रेट,
स्पेशलाइज्ड है ना। हाँ, बहुत
हाँ, बहुत
स्पेशलाइज्ड
ज्यादा।
है। तो कैसा
तो
रहा
एवरी
जर्नी?
एवरी किल में मैम समझ लीजिए कभी कभी 100% सक्सेस बहुत ही रेयर हो पाता है, पर 15 to 20% सक्सेस ये है हर किल का। हर किल लोड में मेरा कुछ पॉट तो कभी वो या तो कैचर से पॉट चिपक जाता है तो वो निकालने में, इवन बहुत अच्छा ग्लेज आया तब भी वो टूट जाएगा तो वो पॉट बेकार हो गया। या फिर आपके टेक्सटाइल पे तो टेस्टर बहुत अच्छा आया है, बट समहाउ एप्लीकेशन या फिर फायरिंग में कुछ चेंज हुआ या आपकी क्ले में चेंज हुआ तो पॉट पे वो रिजल्ट नहीं आया। तो मतलब ये सारी प्रॉब्लम्स तो क्रिस्टलाइन में आपको नहीं पता कि किल्न आपको क्या देगी।
But very beautiful work, I must say.
थैंक यू मैम।
Thank you, Renu.
थैंक यू मैम।
Yeah, any more questions? Anyone? Okay. I think we are done for it then. Thank you, Renuji. Thank you, Tinni, and thank you, Saraswati. It was fabulous. Yeah, and we'll look forward for the next.
Session again very soon.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Good night. We can
Thank
continue.
you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you. Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Thank you. Good night. Bye.
Good night.